You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me. The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.
Hey, so Bronny, what's the show I like? The Last of Us?
Last of Us. Did you watch the episode on Sunday?
You did too?
No, I haven't been watching it, but
You heard?
yeah.
What the fuck? I'm still bothered.
Don't give any spoilers.
I'm not, but what the fuck?
Well, I don't like that I can't see you from my angle.
Well,
that's all right.
No. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Ronnie.
Yeah, I know what happened. I played the first video game. I didn't play the second one.
I never played any of the video games.
No, obviously.
But I'm not happy about it, and I don't like her.
Ellie.
She's fucking annoying. And
she's not a she. It's an it or a they.
It's a she, and she's fucking annoying. But I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not. I'm leaving it alone.
Right? The rehearsal's back, by the way. So if people are looking for quality television.
Is it quality?
Did you watch the first episode?
No.
Oh, okay. You watched last season.
Yeah. Is it worth watching?
Yeah, I mean, it's only one episode so far, but it's like insane.
Okay, and it's made up shit?
No, it's a documentary. That's the beauty of the rehearsal is that
Tell me.
You don't know what's serious or not.
It's on Netflix?
No, it's on HBO.
Okay.
He is joking, but everyone else is a real person, and they don't know that.
Aren't there actors
joking.
in it?
No, everyone is a real person, and they think that they think that they're in a serious thing, but he is the only one that is like, I'm doing this for comedy.
What about the crew, the filming crew?
Well, the filming crew knows what the show is. Yeah.
Technically not. Ooh, I sound.
But they're
like
not in
now.
the show. They're not on camera.
There would be no show
They're behind camera. The rehearsal is excellent.
All right,
it's only one episode of the second season.
I will watch it.
But it's just like the way that he is able to get these situations from. It's kind of like Borat, where it's like everyone else around Borat is real and is like reacting to him doing something, but they don't know that he's trying to be funny. But Borat himself is trying to be funny.
All right,
it's the same idea.
Is someone with a plane?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch.
He's like trying to make airplanes safer, which is also like amazing that he got
the
on
topic.
that.
And
unbelievable that he was ahead of the trend because they filmed this over like he must have started coming up with this idea over 2 years ago.
Interesting.
In order for it to be now, and it's so timely now.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, Nathan Fielder's excellent.
Is there any other good shows on?
No, I'm not really watching anything.
There's really nothing on.
This.
What? Yeah.
We're a little late.
Why?
Like we're a little late to put this out. We didn't put out today's Tuesday. Normally our episodes come out Monday, but we had Family Day Sunday.
It was a nice day, by the way.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
So we decided we were like, fuck our podcast. No, I'm joking.
No, we did not
I
decide
know,
that.
I'm joking. We just
had a long day.
We just focused on being present in the moment.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Wedding's coming up again.
30-something days.
32 days.
32. Crazy. Yeah. 33.
32.
Oh, okay.
Exciting.
Yeah. No, 33, Dad. It's the 25th, and today's the 22nd.
32 days.
32 days would be...
Saturday was 35 days. Oh, no, it's Sunday, the wedding.
Right, exactly.
You're right, my bad.
Oh, it's almost like it's my wedding. Okay. There was another thing that I thought about. That I
Hi, everybody, by the way.
I don't know.
Which one?
No, I can't. I mean, I have a lot of topics, but none of them are fun, to be honest.
Oh, I like
which is
fun
unfortunate.
Stuff. Why
I know.
are you doing fun stuff, man? My whole day is all stressful.
I know.
What the fuck?
I was like looking for fun things. The only fun thing is, do you want me to read you Kanye's latest tweet?
Who's Kanye?
Kanye.
Oh. He's an idiot.
Now, I don't know if this is fun, but I'll show you Kanye's. It's not his latest tweet, but he tweeted it yesterday. He tweeted. Oh, fuck. I just had it. Scrolling.
Rolling.
He tweeted, "This song is called Cousins, about my cousin who's locked in jail for life for killing a pregnant lady a few years after I told him that we wouldn't look at dirty magazines together anymore. Perhaps in my self-centered mess, I felt it was my fault that I showed him those dirty magazines when he was 6, and then we acted out what we saw. My dad had Playboy magazines, but the magazines I found in the top drawer of my mom's closet were different. My name is Ye, and I sucked my cousin's dick till I was 14.
Get the the fuck out.
He tweeted.
Get the fuck are you? Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yep.
I didn't expect that.
Nope.
Whoa!
Nope.
Oh fuck!
Yeah. One of the most wild things I've ever seen tweeted by the person themselves. He admitted to he just put out there that he sexually abused his
He sucked his brother's dick till he was 14.
His cousin, yeah. And his cousin was 6 when they first started enacting out scenes from porn magazines.
Okay, on one hand, I got the heebie-jeebies. Okay, like it's on the other hand, like you didn't prepare me for that.
No, and that's why
You're like, all right. I'm like, it's really my fault. I should have spent more time with my cousin.
Yep. That's why I just wanted you to go in blind, because the rest of the internet also went in blind. People were just like, what the absolute hell is this tweet?
What do you even say?
No, there's nothing to say. I just wanted to put that out there for the world.
Whoa! Have you played it for mom?
Like, Reddit? That
Reddit?
No.
She'll be blown away.
He tweeted last night.
All right. He's the most fucked up human being there is.
Yeah.
And it's nasty. Now I'm picturing him sucking.
How did he admit? Like,
whatever,
why would
you take that to
admit
your grave.
He just put it out there.
And why would be the dick sucker, not the suckee?
Right. And he was the older one. He was the perpetrator.
Oh, I'm on one hand, I'm blown away. On the other hand, I'm like, cringe. It's nasty.
And then Jeffree Star, who I think we talked about on
I don't know
before.
that 1 minute. Well, let's go back.
Yeah. This is related to this.
Like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
Bronny? No.
Can you lower the air in here a little bit?
Bronny, that's one of the craziest fucking things I've ever heard.
I'm Ye, and I sucked my cousin's dick till I was 14. Till he was 14, I think it said, actually. Also, we're definitely demonetized for this, but...
Are we?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though.
What do we make, $6 anyway?
Yeah, on YouTube, yeah.
Oh my God. No, Bronny. All right, lowering that.
Imagine the people listening to this episode who didn't know what was coming either. That would have been a shock. Imagine people listening in their car with their children to this.
I hope not.
Yeah, I should have given a trigger warning or a...
Wow.
Yeah. So then
wow.
Jeffree Star,
wow,
who we talked about, we've definitely talked about before. He's like a makeup artist, but he looks like a woman, and he has massive nails. He's not trans. He's like kind of conservative, but he looks like a woman, and he's a famous makeup artist or whatever. But he's a guy.
I still can't get over that.
Like 2 years ago, during COVID, he moved out to Montana or Wyoming, and Kanye. Remember we talked about this? And there were like rumors that they were in a relationship.
Well, he's definitely.
So Jeffree Star tweeted.
And you know Kanye's penis like nasty, smelly and shit, like gross.
Oh, why is it smelly?
Because he's just fucking gross.
Jeffree Star tweeted this morning, "Oh, fuck it. The rumors were true." Just tweeted that with no context. So everyone's like, "Oh, he's definitely talking about Kanye." So, yeah, weird.
Nasty. How is
How embarrassing for Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians as a whole. Not that I'm fans of them, but like, this has got to be really, I know, but now it's like, imagine your ex-husband, the father of your children.
Okay, so that kid one day will be older and that's always out
like
there.
His children with Kim.
What a he should take him to his grave.
Of course.
Something's wrong with him. Seriously wrong with him.
And then today I just saw, like, as I was scrolling through.
Wow, Bronson. Wow.
He tweeted, the thing that made my kid situation so hard is that most lawyers are Jewish. He tweeted that.
He hates Jews. He's an asshole.
Yeah. I have 2 Jewish employees that are amazing, brilliant, and honest. Just tweeted that. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Another tweet. I love some Jews and I love Hitler. Another tweet. This is all today. I was told by a Jewish lawyer that I would not be able to see my kids if I was anti-Semitic. And he was right for now. God is on my side. Then he said, I'm the king. I will change everything. So he's just like, I mean, he's mentally ill, like severely, but
I can't believe he's successful. No, I can't believe it.
Well, he's not really successful anymore. He doesn't do much anymore. But when he was making all of his music, he wasn't crazy like this. He wasn't.
No, he's fucking retarded.
Yeah.
I mean, something mentally fucked up with that retard.
So I have like
I'm still in shock.
Yeah.
I don't know what to, sorry, everybody. I don't. I can drop the mic now and be done with the. That's how crazy. Oh God, what a douchebag!
Why is that a douchebag?
That's just douchey and stupid.
Okay, I'll just go through it. I have two big stories.
Wow,
Or not big stories, but two
we
big
saw
themes.
Federer this weekend, right?
Roger Federer, yeah,
Right?
he did. Yeah,
At St. Ambrose.
yeah. Name dropping the place and the name of the guy. I'll just give out for like another story because it's not like too
I'm
much
still
to talk about.
shocked. Everyone's got to be like, "There's no way it's true." He's fucking crazy.
I could put the screenshot up.
That's
here
one of
on
the craziest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
Wow.
To just tweet it, and the fact that it starts
Right, so
kind of
nonchalant.
like
I
it's
wish I was
casual
better
at
to my
first.
cousin.
Yeah, and then it just goes off the fucking cliff.
Crazy. All right, go ahead.
RFK. This was last week, but we didn't talk about it on the Patreon. Which also, like, we had a Patreon episode last week come out. Go to patreon.com/daddyissuespod. Join. It was a good episode. I don't even really remember what we talked about, but I remember it was like we covered good stuff. I could look it up, but whatever. Just go join. Trust me. There are also like 168 other episodes that are on Patreon.
Right, for $10 a month. $5 a month.
Or do the 10 if you want, but that helps me out. But you can also just do the 5. So RFK last week held a whole press conference and was like, my plan is to have the Department of Health and Human Services, like our main priority is to find the cause of autism, because no one fucking knows, because there's also like not research put into it. And he said that they're gonna plan to do it by September, which could be great. That could really be interesting. He said that 1 in 30 people, 1 in 30 kids in America have autism. 1 in 24 something boys have it. And in California, it's 1 in 12.
So I want to tell you something that's funny.
Is that not insane?
So today I'm on a Zoom with a client in the healthcare industry and a lawyer that's a healthcare attorney. So I do the corporate work. I don't know about the healthcare component. So the lawyer, she's probably mid-60s, early 60s, she has 6 grandchildren. 3 of the 6, autism.
Oh, my God.
No, seriously, autism. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's so prevalent. Like, I'm now thinking, like, I'm starting that kind of hard poo-pooing out jinx. I'm thinking, oh my God, I hope Bronson's kids, like you.
I know. I think about it all the time.
Can you test for it?
Nope.
It's not like the BRCA gene you could test or shit like that.
That's the thing.
You can't pull out the retard gene.
No. RFK said we're going to try to find the cause because no one knows. There are kids that are born and then they don't seem autistic until a year.
Right.
And then it's like, oh,
that's right.
wow.
So what
autistic.
do you do?
And when you were a kid, there weren't kids with autism, really.
No, they were just a couple of retarded kids.
And then
or the quiet kids, but they're not.
Like in his press conference, RFK said, he was like, there's no 80-year-old with autism. There are 0. And if it's 1 in 12 or 1 in even 30, which is the bigger number, if it's 1 in 30, we would expect, if those are the actual numbers, right? Because a lot of people will say, oh, the reason why the rates have gone up so high is because people know what to look for now. So back in 1940s, they didn't diagnose anyone with autism. They were just like, oh, Timmy's a little weird. But it's like, no. There's no...
Why is it always Timmy?
Timmy's a retarded name.
Timmy's in the well.
Yeah. But if it was 1 in 30 of people that actually had autism, we would know a bunch of grandparents that are autistic. And I've never heard of
parents. You don't have to go grandparents. Parents.
Right. Parents, I don't know. There's a handful of parents that are probably like, oh, they're on the spectrum. There's a handful. But it's not 1 in 30. And in boys, in men, it's not 1 in 20 something.
Okay, extremely scary. Because I worry about
gotta
those
be
things.
something modern.
See, when we grew up, you would have sworn you want your kids to have 10 fingers, 10 toes. That was the big thing. Wow, and in California, why do you think?
So there's multiple reasons why they think. It's not because like there's something in the water in California. It's because, this is what RFK said at least, the reporting is so good in California that it's a combination of more people are being diagnosed autistic because they have more healthcare
Or
access.
California's also about labels too, though. They're quick to do that as well.
That was the other thing. They're over-diagnosing. So someone honestly like me, who, I'm not autistic, but I
How about that?
But
Denial's not a river, bro.
But you know what I mean? Like someone like me, maybe if I was 3 and I wasn't, super social or whatever, you would have brought me to the doctor. And in California, the doctor's like, yes, he's autistic.
Yes.
Like they're over-diagnosing. They're trigger happy.
Right.
So
maybe there's more funding too. You never know. They'll go so corrupt.
Right. RFK also said, he was like,
we
don't know what the cause is. It just so happens that, the autism rates correlate exactly with the vaccination rates in children. And the more vaccines we've been giving our children.
Aunt Donna, Shane, she swears it was from the mercury shot.
A lot of people do.
So what do?
We changed the vaccine schedule.
Or do you not give your kid a vaccine?
Or you don't give your kid certain vaccines. A kid doesn't need 2 COVID shots. Kids don't get COVID.
No, I would not give that.
But that's on the schedule. If you are
today's day and age, really, your kid would get it?
Yes.
You could say no, right? You say no.
Yeah, but some schools will say then you can't come to our school. Things like that. Some camps will say can't. Daycares and stuff, they'll say you can't.
So you have to make a fraudulent form.
Yeah. Don't admit that on here. But also, hopefully RFK starts to change that system. There are, I think it's 73 vaccines that are on the schedule for kids by the time they're 4 years old. Now, they receive.
It can't be good. It can't be good. No way.
Are you kidding me? How is that good? When you were a kid, you probably got, I think it was
2.
Yeah, maybe a little more. I was going to say 10 by the time you were a kid. And so as the amount of vaccines have gone
you
up,
stress me out, Bronny. I want to be a grandpa.
Well, hopefully they're going to solve it. That's the thing. Hopefully they're going to work on it.
I know, but Hannah's going to be pregnant in a month. They won't have
a month.
Time.
We're not even going to be married in a month.
May 25th, so she'll be pregnant May 26th, and I wouldn't have time. So it's a problem. Seriously.
Yeah. So
I'm worried.
Oh, I worry about it all the time. I really do. That's a worry of mine that I've worried about.
Because there is a mom side autism. There's a Hannah side autism.
On your there's significant.
There's nothing on my side.
There's significant retardation on every hitting me from every side.
My side.
Oh, really? Because you always say you're the only normal person on your side, and you're far from.
But they're
normal.
not autistic.
They're just retarded.
There's retardation.
Yeah,
but not the Down syndrome retardation.
I've got it hitting me from every which way. So my kid is fucked.
Wow. Maybe you shouldn't have. You think they'll have web feet?
And I've got gay from multiple sides.
You have not from my side. Definitely not from my side.
That we know of.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
One time makes you curious, bro. I'm just saying. Wow. So Kanye's gay.
Seems like it. Why would a teenager?
I can't even think about him. He's disgusting. He's disgusting. Look, he's fucking nasty. But fuck, I can't get that out of my head. What you just read to me. I wish you didn't tell me. Just like I got to tell you, The Last of Us. I watched Sunday. Today's Tuesday. I still am thinking about it. I woke up thinking about it.
That means it's a good show.
I'm upset over it. I don't know why they had to do that so quickly.
I know what you're referencing. I like when shows do that.
But that's
like Game of Thrones did that.
Okay, yes. But that's
because it shows you it's like this is the real world. No one's safe.
No, but but it's a show, and that's what I was watching. I don't want her. She's a fucking retard.
Yeah, I mean spoilers, obviously.
No.
No. Yeah, but
all right. Wow. Kanye, I can't handle this. Your kid.
I have good medical news though. This was one
of
the main stories.
I am really concerned about that, and I don't know what to do about it, but I am concerned about it.
Yeah, the vaccines really worry me. Where they didn't a few years ago. The problem is COVID happened, and all of the shit with the vaccine where I straight up watched them throughout the weeks, throughout the months. We watched them pick a story. Then the story wasn't true.
Yeah, the bullshit narrative.
Then they changed and they said, we never said that. And I watched it with my own eyes. So now at the point where I'm like, I just don't trust it anymore. And I know that there were negative side effects and that they buried them. So if there are negative side effects with the MMR vaccine, right, which they say there are no negative side effects, but let's say there are, my inclination now is the people the powers that be, the people who made the vaccine, they cover up this stuff.
It's all money.
Because I watched them do it.
So what's the vaccine you think are okay to get?
I don't know. I got to read more of RFK's work. Like that book I got you. I got to read that. The real Anthony
I haven't read
Fauci.
it yet.
He goes into a lot of that and stuff.
All right, I trust you, but
I got to research it.
Oh, I'm stressing.
Right now I'm researching.
Oh, you gave me bad stuff. I'm stressing right now. All the stuff. I got it every angle. Fucking Kanye's a cocksucker, Jew fucking hater, dick sucker, motherfucker, smelly black cock, motherfucker. And I can't stand him. I fucking hate him. I fucking hate him. You know, I won't listen to Michael Jackson anymore after watching what he did. I will turn his shit off.
I find it hard to listen to Michael Jackson because when he comes up, those thoughts come into my head.
He's
and
evil,
then I'm like, oh.
but he's so talented.
Well, I don't know, but there's no proof. But the thoughts come into my head.
No, there is proof. That guy, that
multiple
kid,
people have said that. Yes.
Kid, literally, he's an adult now.
But multiple people have also said things about who has been exonerated in the Me Too movement. A lot of people.
No, this is not a Me Too movement. This he had hidden that separate room.
Yeah.
Here's a kid telling.
There's a lot of it's like my case. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence, and it leads you to, but there's no direct evidence. There's no proof.
Him,
yeah,
the living person.
Yeah, I guess, but there's no proof of it. It's just his word.
Why would he come later? He's 30 years later. He's a man. Why would he want to have that stigma of having that stuff?
I agree with you. I'm on the side of Michael Jackson is a pedophile.
All right, so yeah, I'm a little upset over that. So you better have healthy kids. Kind of hard, boo boo.
I have another interesting kids health story that was kind of big this week that no one's fucking talking about because I don't think people want to talk about it, but we will. But before I go into that, and I don't even need to talk about it. I was just going to say I've been writing a research paper for my AI law class. It's like a big paper. It's our final thing. It's the only grade in the whole class. And I've been spending like a lot of time on it. And
can you have AI write it for you?
Yeah.
How ironic would that be?
No, you fully can. The professor said you can use AI for whatever you want. You just have to tell me what you did. It won't affect your grade. You just have to tell me exactly what you used it for. Because he said, he's like, look, we're still figuring out how AI works with academia. A few years ago, when I started teaching this class, we had an exam. No, he said the opposite. He said, I knew that we couldn't have an exam, that we needed to have like writing because it's such a big scope of ideas that like having like multiple choice is just stupid for this class because a lot of it's like theory and ideas. But he said that, you know, he might next year or the year after might go to only oral in-person exams because AI is just becoming like
too much.
Students are just fully relying on it. That it's like, what's the point of teaching students if they're not going to learn?
Not only that, but it's going to make bad lawyering. But go ahead.
So I chose a topic that I knew I was going to be spending a lot of time researching it. It's like a 15 to 20 page paper. You know, you have to like.
I like to read it when it's done.
Yeah. So far, I'm like halfway through. I think it's fucking great.
What's it about?
So I'll tell you what it's about. I wanted to pick a topic. I knew I was going to be spending a lot of time researching it. So I wanted to pick a topic that I was interested in. Because I wanted to pick something that I would actually want to learn without even if I had to write the paper. Mm-hmm. I wanted to read these things. So I chose, we have to like pick a.
Oh my God. What was the topic?
Okay. Just to make a long story short, it's just basically like.
To make a short story long?
Yeah.
Good.
It's the idea of, it's such a big topic that it's hard to distill, but it's basically like using AI, using data that is, being captured outside of the, like it's focusing on warfare and law enforcement, right? And so it's like how militaries around the world and law enforcement agencies and departments, local law enforcement, are using AI to help them, like predictive policing, or like to predict, like the IDF is using it to predict where a Hamas person might be hiding. So they're using these to like hurt people or execute or arrest people or whatever.
What kind of research are you doing?
A lot on these. So they're using these.
But where are you researching? The internet?
Oh, yeah.
And what are you researching? Like, for example.
I'm like reading like reports, crime statistic reports from the Bureau of Justice Statistics. And then I'm comparing those with so one of the big databases is called Predpol. It's like a software created by a private company that takes old police records. So they went into like the NYPD and they accessed all of the NYPD database of their records, all previous crimes, previous arrests, previous.
The computer does this.
So the AI, this is what the AI does.
How do they get the information?
Well, so this is what the article is really about. It's that a lot of information, right? So the police, if they had an AI model that was just on internal police data that was only collected by the NYPD and used by the NYPD.
But it has to be collected electronically, right? It can't be stored documents. Can you
Why?
scan documents in?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. But so what a lot of these programs are doing is they're private. They're private companies. Palantir is a huge one, right? So Palantir, what they're doing is they have access to a lot of data that's on your phone, a lot of data from your phone's GPS. They scan, it's called scrape. They scrape Facebook and they get your Facebook profile, which has pictures of you and your family. It has what you do for a living. It has so much information about you. Then they'll also partner with, like Palantir partnered with New Orleans Police Department. And then, so now they have access to all of New Orleans police data. So now if you're in their system, not only do they have your social media account, your website, any reviews that people have left about your business, but if you've ever had any police report written up about your ticket, anything, now they have that access. Then these systems, they call them predictive policing.
They're way too much. These places, by the time you have kids, there'll be no privacy.
No, I mean, half the article is about the
erosion
of privacy.
No, it's gone.
And also,
it's literally gone. You know that.
Also, they're purposefully, I've talked about this in the article too, they're purposefully forcing us to shift our ideas of privacy. Right? Like, you have a very different idea of privacy than me. I share most of my things online. I just don't even think about it. And when you tell a young kid, they're following you on every website you go, and then they're giving you ads based on what you wanted, people are like, that's a good thing. But people your age are like, that's a bad thing. So the privacy ideas have already shifted.
The only way to not
keep going
the
down.
only way not to is not to have a smartphone. No, but be off social media.
Oh, but they have so many other things. Like, there's another one called Vigilant AI. It's another private company that has license plate readers around the country. And they've partnered with police departments a lot. So then these police departments, their license plate readers are like Vigilant license plate readers. So then that data now goes back to the private company. And then they also, most of the private parking lots in America have license plate readers on them now. Then this data.
You go into fucking country clubs here before, now you give me your driver's license again. You never did that before.
Right.
They have your driver's license right there. You fucking
even if
some guy making $15 fucking an hour, you know nothing about it, has your fucking driver's license, comes right up and has your driver's license number, everything. They can use that to commit fraud.
Or they can feed that information is being stored in some database, because otherwise they wouldn't collect it.
And what's the point of doing that? They need my fucking driver's license to go into a fucking club.
But let's say you scan your driver's license to go into that club. The club is like gets approached by an AI company, by a data company, that it's like, we want to give you $1 million and you just give us your data. It's a win-win.
And they'll do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and then now this AI company has that data point on you, right? So it's like, you're saying just don't use your smartphone. No, it's like, no, everywhere you go,
even
you're being
planes,
tracked and being stored.
Even TSA, they take a picture of your face.
I opt out of that.
You can opt out of it?
Yep. Easily, you just say, I'm opting out, and they say, okay, no problem. But also then you scan your ID and you purchase your plane ticket. Right. All of this is data points that are being stored on you.
Yep, you're done.
And then the algorithms,
done, dude.
Now with the capability of AI, they're able to. So the paper title is called Emergent Dangerousness Data, because it's the idea. There's an idea called emergent medical data that's coming up in the AI field about how, what I'm talking about, all of these different things that are outside of the medical industry, right? Like, you go into your doctor, they collect data on you. How much do you weigh? What are your symptoms? Blah, blah, blah.
Everything, social data, birth.
But that's
everything.
your doctor collecting medical data of you by you. It's from you. And then the doctor can maybe infer, okay, the patient maybe has this wrong with them. Now, there are AI models that are collecting data that you didn't give it, and they're not collected by the doctor. Data about where you go to the gym, about when you go to Whole Foods now, everyone scans their Amazon account. right? Because you get discounts. Great. Oh, I love discounts. Let me scan my Amazon account. Now, the only reason Amazon is offering you
To
discounts
see what you're buying.
because they want to know what you're buying. Because then they can
Tailor, exactly right.
Well, they can tailor for marketing, sure, but then they can also formulate a model of who you are. They know they can see that you buy a lot of this type of food, so you probably are like, right. If you keep buying junk food, they know what you eat. They know that you're unhealthy, right? So they can take all of this data that has nothing to do with the doctor, nothing to do with medicine, and the AI will find patterns about it, and then will tell you. It will know more about you than you, right? So with medicine, they're now starting to do it with like mental, like psychologists. There are programs that will scan what you search online and what you tweet and what you read, all this stuff. And then it'll be like, this person is likely to develop depression. This person is likely, like it'll tell the doctor before, it'll forecast, it'll predict. So
insurance companies will deny.
Oh yeah, and they're for sure going to use that.
They're going to
say, no, you have a very high risk of suicide. Right. The computer told us.
Right, or you're all you do is eat shit food. We see based on your purchases.
Exactly. So we are not going to give you health coverage because you have a 95% probability of developing diabetes in 3.4 years. Like they'll know that exact amount.
So you and your kids, like I'm on the back end. You know what I'm trying to say? It's going to be terrible.
You know what's even more dangerous about this whole idea? So I call it, that's called EMD, emergent medical data. Like it emerges. It's not data that you collected, just data that emerged based on the other data. My paper is called EDD, emergent dangerousness data, which is the idea of like data is being collected about us all our lives outside of law enforcement. Police aren't collecting this, but then they're going to use it to determine how dangerous we are or how dangerous a region is, right? Like there are now neighborhoods that are being patrolled more by police because the computer says there's a high likelihood of crime.
I'm not as opposed to that.
No, but the thing is they make mistakes because they're trained on bad data. That's like half of the article is about the problems with these things. And they're going to sell all these things to us on it's really good. It'll stop crime. It'll alleviate resources. We'll only, police won't have to patrol everywhere. They'll only have to patrol the dangerous areas. They're going to sell it to us on good ideas, but there's so much bad to it that it's not worth even a little bit of good.
Give me an example of bad.
Okay, so the way that AI models work, you're not going to find this bad, but the way that AI works is that it's trained on data. The AIs don't actually know, like ChatGPT doesn't understand anything.
They get the information from somewhere.
Yes, but what I mean is ChatGPT doesn't actually understand anything that it's saying. It's just been fed enough information that it can kind of guesses at what it thinks a sentence should sound like based on all the other sentences that have come. That's all it's doing. It has no idea what the sentence actually means. All AI is just, it's only as good as the data it receives. So the thing with a lot of data, especially crime data, like it or not, like you're going to be like, well, blah, blah, blah. A lot of crime data
have a little faith.
Is biased, right? Like a lot of police traditionally, right? In the 1920s, they were racist and they didn't really go into white neighborhoods and look at those. They kind of only patrolled black neighborhoods. A lot of the actual arrests were like black people, stuff like that. This is the data that's being used to feed these models. So if you give an AI and you say, here is all the people who have committed crimes in this Chicago suburb, and in the 60s and 70s and 80s, it was like mostly black people, but that was because, let's say 30% of it was because it was just like bad cops. Now the AI is like black people are more likely to commit crimes.
Well, we know that. I'm not saying it to be funny. I'm saying
right, but is it? But maybe that's to a point, but it's not to the. It was like I think Pred poll or no the Chicago.
No, I'm not saying to be racist. That's what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying,
yes,
right?
I know, but it's so right. If it becomes policing is now dependent on these algorithms, right? The police are like, I'm only going to arrest people that the computer tells me to arrest.
No, but
and then the computer is like
there's still a human component to it, Bronson.
But if the computer is saying that 85% of black people in the neighborhood are a 99% risk of violence,
a crime though.
No, because what happened was there's cases of people who are marked by the like. There's I was just writing this part of the essay earlier today. There's this guy, Robert McDaniels, who has never committed a violent crime. He was arrested when he was like 18 for marijuana possession. But he lives in a neighborhood that has like a historic crime rate, a historically high crime rate in Chicago. His name, the AI system in Chicago, the Chicago Police Department used, they've now stopped using it because it made so many of these mistakes. The AI pinged him as having a 99.9% likelihood that he would be involved in a shooting. He's never been involved in violent crime. So the Chicago police were like, okay, 99.9%, let's go patrol this guy. Let's go surveil him. They started surveilling this guy. He had not committed a crime yet at all. He has not done nothing wrong. They kept surveilling him, that he ended up getting shot by other people in the neighborhood because they were like, he's working with the cops because the cops are surveilling him. The cops keep coming over to him. And so now this guy got shot by someone else in the neighborhood just because
So he's an informant.
Yeah. But it's like that was a mistake. Maybe it wasn't a mistake. I guess the AI was technically right. It said 99.9%
he'll be involved in a shooting.
He would be involved in a shooting, and he was shot. But it was the fault of the AI. There's a lot of stories like that. There were a lot of people that have been falsely arrested.
But that fact probably tell me might not necessarily be completely accurate.
Okay, but here's another thing. Facial recognition is a huge thing that they're using, that law enforcement's using. Facial recognition, again, this is a data issue. Facial recognition is only as good as the data it receives. So how you train an AI on facial recognition is you just give it a bunch of pictures of people's faces and you see what it tells you, right? You'll give it a picture of a white person's face and you'll say, what race is this person? And if it tells you it's white, you say, yes, that's correct. You just give it, and if it says this is Asian, you say, no, that's not correct. That's how you train these things, right? You just train it on as many pictures as you can find and just get positive reinforcement. There are way more pictures of white people than there are of other races. There just are in America. That's just the way that the data fell. For whatever reason, you could say it's racist, you could say whatever, but these data sets that these AIs are being trained on, they're being trained on so many more white people than black people that the AIs are way worse at identifying black people, the facial recognition softwares. They really have a hard time identifying black people, and they're great at identifying white people. But it's not because black people are harder to identify. It's just that they're not given enough pictures of black people. Then
that might change. So
it might change, right? But as of now,
and don't a lot of black people look this. No, I'm only joking.
As of now, a lot of these companies, a lot of like local law enforcement are using private company facial recognition software, and there are dozens of reports in the last couple of years of people being arrested falsely because police get a suspect, security footage of a suspect robbing a bank or whatever, robbing a convenience store. That was an example I had in New Jersey. This guy robbed a convenience store.
Good.
The police got the security footage. They uploaded the picture of the guy's face to the facial recognition software, and it said, this is so-and-so. And they went right to the person's house. They arrested him. Turned out it wasn't him at all.
Like Hurricane, the song Hurricane.
Yeah. The AI just is bad at recognizing black people's faces.
Okay, but but it's also so new too.
I know, but this guy now had to spend $10,000 defending himself. He spent 2 weeks in jail. No, not shit happens, because if that happened to me, if I was put in jail for 2 weeks without bail,
don't mean shit happens.
And he was kept out of without bail.
That can happen also, Bronson. And they put you in a lineup and someone says it's you. That can. I'm just saying it's not. Keep in mind this. It's not. I understand your statements, and there's valid points to your statements.
The police is also way less innocent. When it's in warfare, people are actually dying. They're blowing up buildings based off these AI.
Okay, listen. I don't know one way or the other. I don't know enough about any of the stuff, but I'm just saying that there are there's more factors that come into play than just relying on the AI. For example,
I don't know. People are lazy and.
But yes,
these huge technology companies are paying so much money to have these departments reliant on.
Okay, but people are lazy on everything, right? So it might be. Listen, it might be AI before they used photos on a computer, before they used physical photos, but maybe they use lineups too with people. There's always human error
for sure, and I'm just pointing out the negatives.
There's no question. Every positive thing has a yin and a yang to it.
Yeah, but there's a lot more negatives. The biggest issue, by the way, which I didn't even get to, is that
I don't like
using
AI.
this.
I'm anti-AI. I don't like it. I think it's a terrible thing. I think it's one more thing. First was the social, it was the internet, then social media, cell phones, now AI. All these things are major fucking downfalls of our entire community, foundation, everything, society. So I'm anti-AI, but continue.
Government
people, like fucking idiots too.
Law enforcement and the military, they have to abide by specific laws, like just for them, right?
And a lot of people going to law enforcement, a lot of them are not the brightest too.
No, right? But like a police officer has to abide by the Fourth Amendment, right? They have to have a search warrant to get data on you. So there are laws that are set in place that apply to police officers and what they can't do to us as citizens.
To protect our privacy and
exactly.
due process.
But those laws don't apply to private companies. And so the big issue is that a lot of private companies are taking all of your data because there's not many laws about it. You put it online, you're driving around, they're just taking data on you, and then they're using these algorithms to now help police officers skirt around search warrants, arrest you on probable cause without doing an investigation.
I don't know if that's true.
No, it is.
They can arrest you. They can do without search warrants.
If they go to if the police officer goes to Clearview AI, which is one of these things, or they go to Palantir and they say, we want, or Palantir is partnered with the police, right? So it's already a partnership. They just send an email to the office of Palantir and they say, we want all of the information you have on Jonathan Bloom. And Palantir has troves of information on you that they didn't have they didn't have to get a search warrant.
But that's different. Search warrant is, I'm talking about something different. But Bronson, is it any different?
But they're digital search warrants.
Let's assume Palantir, whatever the name is, let's assume they didn't exist. If the police department wanted to hire an independent, nerdy IT guy,
to hack into your stuff? No, they couldn't.
No, everything's already there.
No,
Palantir's not hacking.
But Palantir has access. No, but they're not hacking.
They're
but
taking everything.
No, but you. There's a lot of things that you do on your phone that you aren't. You don't think that you're availing your data to other people when you do it. When you post on Instagram, you know you're putting it out into the world. But you don't. When you do a lot of things on your phone, you're not assuming that it's being scraped and then stored in a database. But every single thing you do on your phone is doing that because a lot of these data companies have partnered with the apps you have downloaded or partnered with Apple themselves to collect your data without you knowing. Technically, you can go and read in the terms and conditions.
We know that they do it because we would see the advertising. We see that, Amazon says, hey, so this is Siri. We know you want to order this or things come up on your phone.
So you're fine with the police now basically having access to everything on your phone without a search warrant.
Different issue.
No, but that's what it is. But that's the issue.
So calm down there,
Sorry,
Junior.
that is the issue.
But I'm just saying, because social media.
No, but I'm not talking about social media.
Or because
I'm talking about your GPS location. Because your phone is always tracking your GPS. 10 years ago, the police, I forget what the case is. There's like many cases on the Supreme Court. The police would need.
You could do it through the cell phone. They could track where you were.
No, but they needed a search warrant for that. If AT&T didn't give them access to or Verizon to give them access to your cell phone pinging, they would need a search warrant to get that from AT&T or your phone. Now they don't need to do that because they can go to these companies and be like, hey, what data do you have? And they'll be like, I have. And back then it was just pinging on cell phones. Now it's like, I have every single inch of this house where this phone has moved, right? And the phones are always listening to us. These are data
that's a problem.
That police and military would have.
It is a problem.
So it's allowing them to. It's allowing the government, Big Brother, surveillance state, to skirt around the Constitution and the rules that we set to protect ourselves. It's allowing them to do that without any oversight.
It's a problem.
Because there's no rules against AI.
So what's your thoughts on that?
We need rules against AI.
Is it going to happen?
We need regulations. I don't know. But that's what I argue in the paper. It's terrifying. I've been sitting with it for like a week, reading all these stories, and the military ones are even worse. The U.S. government has multiple AI programs that like Operation or Project Maven is one of them that like it kind of does the same thing. It tracks all of our stuff, and then it allows a commander to go into a software and like pull up an area, and it'll tell the commander like who are the friendlies, who are the enemies, what are no-go zones, it tells them everything. It's like, what if you're labeled as an enemy? And
No,
The commander didn't go in and be like, why is this person labeled an enemy? And then your house gets bombed. Because that's what...
Well, I wouldn't know, but I agree.
I know, but that's a huge problem. It's crazy.
There's so much corruption out there. There's so many... So little checks and balances. Look what just in the common government, what we learned in the past 6 months of a fraud and how Trump's being more transparent.
So then you want to give them more access to our data?
No, but I don't know. That's why I think this whole... It's such a slippery slope that the train has already left the station. So when you're dealing with...
That's why we need to regulate.
Do you know when... Even then, there's so much fraud involved.
For sure.
But you do need...
better than nothing.
I agree you need regulation. Remember we used to tell you when you were in high school, don't post. The colleges will look at what you put.
Even if you don't post, let's say you're like, I'm going to be fully disconnected.
I get it.
Every time you go outside, you're being tracked.
Well, if you have your phone, yes.
Oh, no. What do you mean if you have your phone? Every street corner has a camera. Every store has security footage.
You never get rid of that.
And all of these cameras now have facial recognition. So anytime you walk into a store and they have a camera for security purposes, your face is now pinged on it. And then that system is saying, Jonathan Bloom entered this store at this time.
There's no way around it.
Purchase this,
There's no way around it.
I don't know. Also, just going to throw this out there. Palantir just so happened to receive all of its first round funding. They're like a huge multi-billion-dollar company. Just so happened to receive all of its first round funding from 2 places. One of them is the CIA. The other one is the FBI, which is sus. It's almost like these government agencies know that there are rules that are restricting what they can and can't do, what they can and can't access. So
taxpayer money.
Yeah, they fund private companies who can do it. Because
it's a way to get around it. It's the back door.
So fucked. It's so fucked. Yeah. When I'm done with the article, I'll send it to you.
I do want to read it. I also don't know. I guess live your life clean, I guess.
Yeah.
So you have to look over your shoulder and don't do anything wrong.
No, that's not the answer.
The
answer is we get rid of the government.
We know, but that's not happening.
It's happened before.
Okay, I don't think it's going to happen.
Trump came in with a lot of things, huge systemic changes that he's trying to make.
Yes. But there's very few people like him. That's the problem, that have the tenacity and the strength and the staying power to do what he's doing, especially at his age. 99.9% of people would have given up. I think there's a lot of corruption. You also have his level of wealth. The one thing that is good is that a lot of people that ran for the office were not bullshit politicians. They were wealthy business people. That was a good thing, which means you have that guy from Arkansas, you have Vivek, you have people that at least don't need the money, so it's not like they need to be in someone's pocket. So so that part gave me hope that maybe, who knows? I'm just saying there are serious problems. I don't know. It's scary. I don't like any of this stuff. I think it's bad stuff. I also don't like the fact of the health stuff we talked about.
I have an interesting health thing to talk about.
Go ahead.
I was saying, like,
still blown away at Kanye West.
This came out last weekend. Really, no one's
when
talking
we're done,
about
read it to mom. Just I want to see what mom say.
Okay. The New York Times dropped this huge article. It's like I couldn't read through all of it. I didn't have enough time. It was massive. And the article was based on like these few studies that just came out, where basically they were like ADHD is kind of not really a thing. They were like the psychological establishment currently, like many of the doctors, most of the people now are coming to the realization that like it's not a thing, and that we've been like that we've kind of been giving it out.
We knew that though, but
it's so nice that
label.
But it's nice that
that people are now bring
that it's like, oh, okay, yes, we can agree on that.
Couldn't you just have a hyperactive fucking kid, or take your kid off fucking video games, or take your kid off, put him in sports, or stop with all the sugars and how about exercise? I mean,
a lot of what the report said they were like, a lot of what we're diagnosing as ADHD isn't an actual disorder in the kid's brain; it's an environmental thing.
Of course, it is. We know it's all it's the improper stimulation, not enough exercise, and bad food. I don't have to be a doctor. It's called parenting.
Right, but it's nice when it's like
acknowledged,
or not even acknowledged. When I guess when it's acknowledged, because then it's like, okay, my children now don't have to grow up. I don't have to be like fighting against doctors to be like, no, my kid doesn't need to go on Ritalin. My kid doesn't have ADHD.
You don't have to fight. You just say no.
I know.
Listen, I hear you, but
I don't know. A lot of people I'm very, very aware of that. Most people bring their kid to a
Are stupid.
pediatrician and say, my kid, he's so I
Hyper.
can't handle him. And the doctor goes, oh, well, I'm telling you, don't worry. This will solve everything. Your kid has a mental disorder, and we're going to fix it. A lot of people would say, okay, thank you, doctor. I trust
You're right.
that.
But you know what? No matter what comes out, whatever articles, there's no question the doctor is still going to continue to do that because our America is all about the quick, easy fix.
Well, also because there's a lot of money in it.
Parents, right. The parents need to start being fucking parents and know what's best for the kid, do what's best for the kid rather than some third party. Bronson, how many people, well, you wouldn't know because you're not a parent yet, but how many people where they want the parents, they want
I'm listening.
they want the teachers to parent their kids. They wanted me, as when I did their flag football, to parent their fucking kids. The parents don't want to parent their fucking kids. You can't rely on the schools. You can't rely on the coaches. Parents need to parent the fucking kids, period.
Right, but I think this is a great step in that direction to be like, medicine isn't going to help it. It's an environmental thing, which is basically a nice way of saying it's you.
I agree with you, but I don't think, I think you have less than 1% that's going to benefit from that statement.
Oh, I disagree. Because it seems like a lot of doctors now are like, the medicine is doing more bad than good in the long run.
I don't know. I think most of these doctors suck because they're still fucking people. And so driven by, they're just people. It's all driven by money. I think most doctors are terrible because they're just fucking people. Most people are terrible. And I've been around the block a little longer than you. I think the parents...
You think most doctors don't care about like treating their patients?
No, I don't think that. I think most they've been doing it for years, just their profession job. The bedside manners is gone.
So then let me bring it to you.
The time being spent.
Do you care about helping your clients? Or is it just you've been at it so long, you just do it?
No, I do, but I see what's out there. Most lawyers don't give a shit. So I don't think most doctors do.
But do you?
Yes, but...
And do the people that like you associate with do? Lawyers. Do they care about their clients?
I think some do.
Okay. So why can't that be
because
the doctors?
as I'm talking about, I'm not understand. Not all. Majority.
No, I know, of course.
I think if you take
that's why you have to find the good ones.
I think yes, but I'm just saying. But majority of people don't necessarily could go to the good ones or don't want. I'm just saying general people. You need the parents to grow a pair of fucking balls
but
and take
parents
initiative.
Are bad too.
That's the problem. So you can't expect someone else to parent your kid or do what's best for your kid if the fucking parents are on board. Therefore, the trickle-down effect where more and more stupid fucking people have more and more stupid fucking kids. Therefore, more and more our society becomes more stupid. That's the problem. You follow me?
Yeah.
That's what I see. Parents need to grow a pair of fucking balls.
Yeah, but okay, great that you said that. Now what? How do you?
I don't know.
I know,
saying.
but
they need
like I don't think a single person would disagree with that.
No,
but it's like, okay, what are you gonna do about it?
I don't know the answer. I'm just there's so many factors. Single parents having to work 2 jobs. It's not so easy. A latchkey kid, they come home with no parent there. There's so many factors that come into play why it is. But I'm just saying that parents need to question more, like you would question more as a parent.
I think it's the opposite of. I think a lot of what you just said, like the latchkey thing and how that's a problem, and parents. I think a lot of it is the opposite effect. I think that more parents are too involved in their children's lives and too hyper aware. Right, like a lot of parents are so focused on every single thing that their kid is doing. Their kid has no individual autonomy. That the parent is upset, like the helicoptering, obsessing over everything, and any little thing that's wrong, the parent is like, "We need to." Like the kid's a little bit upset. They're like, "We need to send you to a psychologist. We need." Like they're too involved.
Well, there is that too, but that's what the parents need to grow a pair of fucking balls.
Like when you were a kid, latchkey was a good thing.
No,
you guys went out and did your own thing. You made mistakes. You got hurt. You realized, oh, that wasn't that big of a deal. You realized not to do things. Kids nowadays are so cushioned that we don't realize those things.
No,
we're treated instead.
There's a different issue I'm talking about. I'm talking about the parents need to be when I say be involved or question, it's just because someone tells you to do this for your kid, you have to ask questions. A parent needs to be a leader, the chief of their fucking tribe, which is their family and their kids. So that's what they need to do. And it's not easy for people that, like, for example, were never taught, or they don't know how to handle money, or they don't know how to handle raising a kid, or they, like I said, a single parent, or they have to have 2 jobs. It's not so easy.
I know, but a lot of people also, like, I agree 100%.
It's hard for those parents.
But a lot of people also, you saying like they have to, look into it themselves and stuff. It's like a lot of people trust their doctor. We just started this podcast with how vaccines are can be really problematic. You just trusted my doctor when I was a baby. You shot me up with all the vaccines. I had all of them. You didn't do your own research into it. You didn't look into it.
No, well, what I'm saying.
You just trusted the doctor.
But the thing.
But what if your doctor said, your kid, I diagnosed your kid
trust
with
your doctor,
ADHD. We're
and you trust your doctor.
I know, but you're saying parents are just giving up.
No. What I'm saying is there's
And
no.
that's what I'm saying. I think this is so great because now doctors might be like, hey, the modern research shows maybe what we were doing was wrong.
There's no question parents to be more parents than the way it was, the way it is now. I don't know. I just think that it's just a free-for-all. It's a different issue what you're talking about, I think, because I think there's a lot more problems now than when I was a kid. We see it. Look at the health issues.
Oh, for sure.
Look at the money issues. Look at crime. Look at drugs. Look at the entitlement. Look at the diabetes, autism. Look at the fast foods. Look at the lack of nutrients. Look, there's so many different things. It's because things are growing so fast exponentially that I don't know what the answer is, but I know that there is years and years ago, 30 years ago, maybe because it wasn't so busy, and who knows what I don't know what the reasons are, but there was a lot more like your lawyer was more like your lawyer. You know, your doctor was more like your doctor. It was a little bit, people understood their role as a fiduciary. People had more respect and pride in what they did. Now maybe because who knows?
You were a kid.
Yes.
So how do you know?
Talking about because
you've only been experiencing like the real world for the last 20, 30 years as an adult. Not the real world, like of your experience of what lawyers do. You didn't experience what lawyers did when you were 8.
No, because you see the difference. But you also see this when I was 20, 30, 40, and 50, and now approaching 60.
But you were also 20.
No, but you see it different. So when I was a lawyer in my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, I'm almost now going on the fourth generation for 40 years of, you know, I've passed the 3 decades. I'm going to the 4th decade. So you see the difference. I have experience.
And you see that people have gotten worse at their jobs.
I think people have gotten worse in everything. Our trades, the level of service, the level of workmanship. We talked about that.
I don't disagree with you.
I think people, because of their various stresses and lives, and who knows what the reasons are, right? The corruption, the fraud, the respect, the tradesmanship, the service, the workmanship, all these things. And that's why we're trying to bring things back, like I believe in the old-fashioned ways. So I just think it's just, and again, there's a lot of reasons why, but things are not the same and it's not better. So I've seen it. When I was 10, I can go out for 4 hours without a cell phone and my parents let us, and we were safe. You can't do that today and let kids do that.
No, you can. Parents just don't because you're afraid.
No, there's a huge difference when your kid is 9 or 10 with the psychos out there compared to today.
No, but like if we let Zerai go out today, like what actual fear do you have that would happen to her?
Okay.
For real, like actually give me like something that you're like, I don't let her out because this could happen.
Okay. There's a couple of reasons. Number one is sense of community is gone. So when we grew up in a sense of a neighborhood. It was more like the little gated community, even though it wasn't gated, it was more of a community. So all the kids played together. So there was always, there was always parents home. So there was always parents around. If Zerai went out, number one, I worry about her fucking safety because of all the either pedophiles or sickos out there.
Have you ever met a pedophile or a sicko in the neighborhood?
Well, you look at
Have you ever heard of one?
Well, look, there's plenty of homeless here.
Okay,
where we live.
So has a homeless person ever bothered you?
Well, wait, they're mentally. Listen,
you've experienced them being mentally insane?
As a 58-year-old, 6-foot guy, 185 pounds, is different than a 7-year-old girl who's 50 pounds, who's so sweet and naive, dealing with someone who's walking by that's mentally unstable.
Did pedophiles and sickos not exist when you were 8?
There were no homeless and things. It was very different.
Pedophiles and sickos. There were more serial killers when you were 8 than there are now.
Right.
No, I know, but
listen, I love you.
But I know, but I think we have fears nowadays of not letting our kids be autonomous.
You weren't there. Okay, when I grew up, when I was 10 years old, compared to it is a much more dangerous time to be a 10-year-old.
But why? You said because of pedophiles and sickos.
The amount of people, the amount of cars on the road. Okay, how people don't obey it. The amount of drugs out there. The amount of crime. The amount of mental illness, health issues that people out there is a lot more greater than there is. There's more homeless out there than it was when we grew up.
It's different when we were talking about like Manhattan, but like here right now, worry about all that?
Right now.
You worry about all that.
Bronson, there are people, I've seen the difference on Palmetto alone over the last 10 years, or even the last 6.5 years since I've been here, of the kind of people walking to the beach.
But when's the last time you've like heard of a
I've noticed
kid be kidnapped and gone forever?
I don't know, but
But you're afraid of that. But you have no,
I am
you have no
cautious
data
of
to
it.
back it
Let,
up.
let me explain. Okay, Bronson. You know what data I'm going to tell you?
I don't disagree with you.
You know
I'm
what
just
data I'm going to
pushing
tell
back
you?
because
My instinct as a parent seeing the change. There is no better data than your own fucking spidey senses that tell you as a parent what the fuck to do. The naive one, do whatever. Those are. I don't want to become a statistic. So I use my experience. I use my eyes. I use what I see. I see the differences in the change from when I've been there, and I see my ability of growing up and who I am as a person, and that's what I use. So therefore, I will put my kids or grandchildren in a situation that is less risky than one that is at that than a risky situation. And that's where I use my children. So when we grew up and went to a cul-de-sac to play, okay, that environment was very different than it is today, where all the kids, for example, when we grew up.
when I was a kid, I played in a cul-de-sac too.
Okay, because of our communities, things was different. When I grew up, all the kids went to the same school, so all the kids knew each other. Here, look at our community. Where I live, we know our neighbors, but no one socializes.
Yeah, but
You
that's also that. We're just as much to blame for that.
I'm not about blame. I'm talking about the environment
No,
we're
I
in.
know, but
so I would
we
not
could create a better environment for our
I
children.
would not send a 7-year-old out on her own today's day and age. I don't know if I'd even do that back then.
Right, exactly. That's my
But
point. It's more parents are more afraid now
Because
than they were
of our-
back then. But
because
you
of
just
our
said you wouldn't
society.
even done it back then.
Because
even if you were living in that
I'm very
society.
cautious, but a 7-year-old boy with his 2 or 3 friends, I don't know, maybe it was 10. I don't know the age. 7's still young. 7's still young.
Yeah. I do think that kids not having any autonomy, like individual autonomy or even sense of freedom or like being on their own nowadays is harming a lot of the kids and it's leading to ADHD and this kind of stuff.
But you have
because
to,
even when kids are playing at home, right? Like nowadays kids go to a play day and it's like they're always being supervised.
Right. But going back
always.
but going back to the safety thing.
When I was a kid, we used to like get into shit that we weren't supposed to.
I know,
or
we did too.
Go do stuff that, and then we would get hurt, and you would like cover it up.
But the difference
think
today,
kids do that stuff
but I
anymore.
know, but difference today, you don't know who has a gun. You don't know. You hear about this crazy shit, so it's a little bit different today. And then the other thing is you have to look at your kids. Some kids are more mature than others. Some are more immature, and you have to look at the environment. So, for example, I don't know and like when I say the environment, if you say to me at the age of 12, Dad, I'm going to a movie with 2 of my friends, and we drop you off, as opposed to, Dad, I'm going to the beach with 3 of my friends at the age of 12. I would be more worried of you going to the beach alone with that because of the undercurrent, water. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at the environment. You know, where's the old saying, nothing good happens after midnight. If you're going out to a bar, I worry as opposed to you going to a soccer game. There's so many, or there's a soccer game in Europe, which is crazy, as opposed to going to a concert here. And what kind of concert? So that's what I'm saying. You just have to use proper judgment, and it's not a free-for-all. And you pray and you worry. When your kids went to college, Mom and I so worry. Even now when you drive, it's not that I'm... Listen,
No, I know, but like you literally, even when we went off to college, we were still supervised. You had like GPS trackers on our phone.
I know, but
I think that war is warping children.
No,
now,
listen to me for a second.
I'm the one that it happened to. I'm saying yes.
When I'm telling you about when I worried about your college was going to a party and getting drunk and doing something stupid. Okay, so when like Bryce went to New Orleans,
100% I understand.
So it's an environment. When Bryce went to New Orleans last week, I go, Bryce, just don't be stupid, because it's the environment,
right? But like when you were a kid, you were barely supervised.
But I used to get
and
my
you
mom.
guys turned out fine.
But
kids nowadays, and obviously the world is different.
My mom waited up when we got home. She checked us.
Right, but you weren't supervised. You were out doing something. Your mom had no idea what you were doing.
We had a call if we were going to be late. We had a call if we were going to be late.
That's not what I'm saying. She didn't know what you were doing.
There was no ability to.
Now parents know what their kids are doing at all times. Kids don't have any freedom. Even when the kids are at home on a play date, they're
all right, so raise your kids and don't have any of this stuff on them.
I'm just saying, I think a lot of that always being watched, always being supervised, not feeling any sense of individual freedom to mess up, to make the mistakes, to figure out things on your own. I think a lot of that is what led to a lot of people being hyperactive and being called ADHD, can't sit still, all the anxiety
I don't
in children.
think I don't think that's what it is. I think
parents, like you were saying, the world out there is crazy. It's full of sickos. You can never be alone. And then
no one says that though. You're going so extreme.
You literally
that's not how you. By the way, it's called raising your kids. You know how to speak to your kid, teaching them. It's not.
Yeah, but then when those kids are now my age and we're all saying we have so much anxiety, and then you go around, your generation is so full of anxiety. Okay. You guys can't function in the world. It's like maybe because we grew up being always watched and being told that we never, like, everything we're doing has to be known, surveilled, supervised.
Okay. Bronson, there's a difference. Listen, there's a difference. When I say to you, for example, I don't say like freak out. Some parents can't handle it and they freak out, and there's no question what you're saying is correct. But it's how you parent. Okay, it's
and
how
I'm not saying you. I'm saying
listen,
in general.
In general, I agree. But when I say to you, do me a favor, just let me know you got home safe.
That's not what I'm. That's not.
No,
what I
hear me out. What I'm saying, it's not because I'm worried about you. I'm worried about the environment on 95, which is crazy. So make sure you got home safe.
But then, do you not see how that could create anxiety?
No, because if I said to you, "Oh my God, Bronson, be careful! I can't believe it when we drive."
No, you don't even need to do that. If a kid grows up and their parent is always like, "The road is unsafe," because I don't worry about you, I worry about the other people. All the other drivers are unsafe, and I want you to. Like, if you even do it calmly, you don't need to be neurotic about it like you were doing. That will instill anxiety in a child.
No, I think the kid has
I think
I think the kid's a fucking idiot then.
So why do you think so much? No, it's not part of life. Your parents saying the world's unsafe, the world's unsafe.
No, you gotta
That's
be careful.
Not part of life.
Don't you say?
Your parents didn't do that to you.
Yeah, they did. They used to
Your
talk
parents
about
constantly would say, "Where are you? I need to know where you are. What are you doing?"
No, it's you're nitpicking specific little things. I'm talking about
I'm
general.
I'm talking
general.
Yeah.
Well, I got.
You're the one that nitpicked. You said, "I just asked you about 95."
I just use it as an example.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
I was using your parents as an example.
Listen, you'll raise your kids the way you feel.
I'm not saying one way is right or wrong. I'm just saying I think a lot of the problems with children
create anxiety. Parents could create anxiety to their kids, no question about it, 100%.
And I think parents' fears, some of them justified, some of them not,
and spills onto their kids. I agree with you.
And
I don't disagree.
Causes hyperactive children.
But I think it
causes
but
kids who don't really know how to function in the world because every little mistake that the kid made was instantly solved by the parent.
That's true.
The kid didn't have time to solve it themselves.
That's true.
They mess up on one thing, and the parents like, "Don't worry, honey, don't worry, we'll figure this out."
But that's why I say the parents need to be better parents.
Yeah.
And then some do that out of lack of knowledge. Some not necessarily. They still love the kids. And I think. Also, in addition to that, I think it's food, television, cell phones. There's so many factors why kids get all fucked up. Some is just a predisposition. Some is a chemical imbalance. There's so many factors. As a parent, you just have to do what's really best for your kid. Sometimes let them fail.
And it's hard to know.
Well, you'll feel
because a part of me feels like I want my kid to to figure out some things themselves.
And you will.
But then it's also, I agree with you that it's like the world is dangerous, and if I'd rather my kid not fall off the monkey bars and break his arm. But then also, if he falls off the monkey bars because he was being reckless, he'll now think twice about being reckless again. But then it's also like, I don't want my kid to be hurt, right?
But there's a way to handle it. Remember?
But it's like, what is the right way? Do you shelter your kid and not let them ever go on the monkey bars?
No.
Do you risk them breaking their arm?
No. Listen.
And that's a microcosm of a bigger idea.
When Burke had an analogy when I was coaching flag football, and I knew he was going to jump over the chain.
I slapped my chest when I was coughing, and it really hurt my sunburn. Really hurt. Sorry.
I'd help you, but I don't want to coddle you. So what happened was, remember the chain? He jumped over the chain. You heard the story 100 times. I said, don't do it. And he did it. Remember, he found scraped his knee. I was like, oh, my God. But it's the way you handle it. And you talk about stories that when I raised you as a parent, and I raised you as your parent, and you said, you remember, you bring up some of those stories and you say you were always firm, tough, but fair.
Yes, but I also think we were sheltered as children, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I think they're good and bad.
Listen.
But you definitely sheltered us because you were looking out for us.
Well, because is it any different than from back in the tribal areas where you take care and you shelter the tribe and whatever?
I know, but think about a lot of questions that Bryce, Burke, and I come to you and Mom to this day are things that it's like you never would ask your parents that because you just figured it out.
But there's a lot of things. Listen, you went off to fucking California on your own.
No, for sure.
And then remember when you didn't have the job,
not
and
all or none.
No, and we said, "Suck it up with your big boy pants on."
I know it's not an all or none.
So there's no question as a parent, and remember, you coming into you were raised by Mom and I. Mom and I have different views on things who came from different upbringings and similar views on things. You're now marrying Hannah. So you're a combination of mine and mom's views, and you're also a combination adding your own independent views onto that, right? Because you are who you are.
And then it has to grapple with hers.
We don't agree on everything. Then you've got Hannah.
Yeah.
So remember, you can have somewhat of a core belief in how to raise your kids similar to the way mom and I raised you. And that's what you find part of attractive and what you wanted to marry Hannah, one of the elements, right? But there's things you might say, we don't agree, we're going to do it differently.
For sure.
And you're going to do what you want to do. And then you might come to us for advice. We might give you our opinion whether you come to advice or not. And ultimately, you're still going to do what you want to do.
For sure.
And it's your choice.
No, I know. It's just these are thoughts
Listen,
I have
correct.
about-
And some things are going to go great, some things are not.
100%.
And hopefully,
and you just have to hope that
majority is going to be better than others. I call it the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
And you're going to be one of those good parents that's not going to raise a fucked up kid. And opposed to, we do know some of your friends. We know some of our friends that raised your friends' kids that are fucked up parents. And the trickle-down effect is they're going to be more fucked up, those kids. And the worst part is there's more fucked up people than not fucked up. So therefore, the trickle-down effect is even greater. So there's greater strength in that. And then you got to worry about...
And then that also means most of the kids are not going to be fucked up.
Then you got to worry about, oh my God, my kids are going to marry those fuck-ups.
Or my kids are just going to grow up around fuck-ups.
Well, that's what's going to happen anyway. And I'm okay with that because you know why?
No, but a lot of how you're shaped as a kid is who you're surrounded by.
The reason why I'm okay with more people like me being fucked up because it makes me better and special. But I hear you.
No, but on a net, like overall, I'd rather the people
but it's
in
never
my
happening.
life not fucked up.
But it's never happening.
Not I don't.
But
I'd
you
rather
surround
not be put up on a pedestal because I'm better than them.
But you surround yourself with
you
with
find
people,
those
and that's
people.
what you do.
Yeah.
And then as you get my age, because now you're going to be building your life, and you can deal with everybody. And the spectrum's larger, not spectrum one, the spectrum of people are larger from all different views. And as you get a little bit older, and you become more my age, and you realize, and you get a little more tired and realize time is short, you become more selective, and you create your world, your circle smaller, because you want more people like you, more people that aren't against the grain of what your views are. So life becomes simpler.
But is that necessarily good? But that's a whole other conversation.
It is, because at some point,
but sometimes it's interesting or not interesting. Sometimes it's beneficial to have your views challenged or new ideas.
You will, but you want similar views, just like you marry somebody who wants similar views and life. You marry someone that has a similar background and wants the future to be similar.
Yeah, you don't want.
So I don't want to hang out with someone who has a completely different view to me, because on a limited time that I'm downtime not working, I don't want to deal with someone that's like that. I don't want to.
No, of course not when it's a bad way. But sometimes, if someone is doing something differently and you can incorporate that into your world, you can be like, that made my life better.
That's not what I'm talking about.
No, yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about I want to socialize with people that are similar to me, because that's the company I enjoy. All right, Bron, I love you.
Love you too.
Everybody, take care. You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me.
The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.